Great. All right. Rohini, so since we're here and we're starting, the topic for today, guys, of course, is campus to profit and loss. For those who didn't really understand what that went down or what that meant, by profit and loss, we mean business, right? So campus to actually starting your own business. The last time we did campus to corporate, which was more about you getting a job, but this time it's about business. And who better than someone I knew who got into business really early and has her own journey, and that's what she's going to take us. So, Rohini, tell us a little about yourself, who you are, what you do.
So, firstly, thank you for having me on your show, Stead. It means a lot about the work that you are doing. And I hope and pray that it really contributes to youngsters in Goa and we can really serve the people we live with. So I think this is a great initiative by Engage HR, and I hope and pray that you guys really do well. And it's a very interesting topic. The last time was also interesting, where you spoke about how people can get from their campus to corporate careers. And this time I think it's fascinating because it's about entrepreneurship. So my name is Rohini Gonsalves. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder of Sevarat Healthcare and Nursing Private Limited. We are Goa's only dedicated senior care service, which is we provide home healthcare services for senior citizens. And I started this enterprise in the year 2015, and we formed a company in the year 2017. And since then, we're journeying through this entrepreneurship exercise, adventure, and journey. And it's been fascinating. And I'd be happy to help you with my views and my experiences. So over to you, Stead.
Perfect. Thank you. Explicit, very, as usual, to the point. Rohini, my first question to you is, we've known each other for a while. Just like my last speaker, this time also, Rohini and me met through BNI. BNI it stands for Business Network International. It's a business networking group where we businessmen meet week on week. We share referrals, which are possible business, with no expectation of any kind of commission, just so that the fraternity of business grows across the world. Rohini and me met at BNI, and I've made a lot of good friends in the business fraternity through BNI. Rohini, my first question to you is, how did you start into business? Because I understand that you've had a corporate career. So tell us a little about that, and then how did that eventually bring you to business?
Okay, so actually that didn't bring me to business. That brought me to just the end of my corporate career. I was, when you're working in a certain setup and you are dealing with the pressures of, being the employee and having a lot of targets to meet and a lot of pressures, somewhere it gets onto you. So I think I had burnt out in my corporate career, and I really wanted to give entrepreneurship a shot. So and what better destination than Goa? So I moved to Goa, and I was actually looking at various opportunities because I come from the marketing side. So I was looking at opportunities in marketing, like creating marketing-based events for corporates. And Goa is the most preferred destination for a lot of corporates for their offsites and their training workshops, so on and so forth. So I thought this would be a fantastic, place for me to start a venture like that. And while I was honing this desire, my mom took ill, and she was at that time based in Bangalore. And you know what? It was like you are the only idle person in the family. So invariably, you end up going and looking after her. So I was called time and again to go to Bangalore and look after her. She used to have these multiple bouts of hospitalization. And while I was going through those things, I was wondering if other people who are in similar situations have a better solution than one of us, kind of burning your career and going and sitting by your mother's bedside. And the more I looked at it, I realized that there are no such reliable options. And then I said, what does it take to start one of your own? So I said, let me come back. And when I came back to Goa, I originally started with a because I came from the telecom industry. I thought it would be a telecom based solution. So I thought I would create an app. And, I started with that. I started with the technical part of setting up an app and setting up the flow of the app and the technology side of the app. And then I realized that there was nobody to deliver the last mile service. And that was the biggest gap in the system. So I came back to Goa and I just hired a few people and I started off and never looked back thereafter.
Nice. Like they said, making the best out of adversity. I think that's what happened with you. Perfect. Really, we've got a lot of most of the followers, most of the people who come online here, at least following Engage HR, because Engage HR is predominantly a human resource business. We're into recruitment training. Most of the people who come here are either people who just started their career, in the mid of their career, and a lot of college students who are just looking at starting or taking their first job, having their first interview, etc. But since we're talking about business today, and I've been doing a lot of these seminars and talks at different colleges on entrepreneurship and what can you do when you're starting a business. And since you're in that already, when do you think what phase of life? When do you think can one actually start thinking of business?
That's the most. I mean, that's a question which doesn't have an answer still, Vic. Because I think everybody who has a calling, it's like when you have the calling, you just jump at it. So I don't think there is a specific time in your life when you can pursue entrepreneurship. I think it just happens to you. I think the only thing is, like love, you need to open your arms and just embrace it and just live with it. That's how entrepreneurship is. It's as difficult as falling in love is, and it's as fascinating as that as well. Yeah, so that's the right time.
I kind of agree. So calling. So guys, I guess that's the answer from Rohini Gonsalves. Stay out, look out for that calling. If the calling is right and you can hear the voice and from inside, that's, I guess, the best time. But so let me change that question a little, Rohini. Um, I'm a student and I'm busy studying, right? I'm in college and yes, I'm waiting for that calling. But if I'm still in college and I'm busy studying, I'm creating my projects, I have submissions. Um, can I still think of business even at that phase? I'm making my question more specific now. I'm saying, can a student start a business while they're still in college? If yes, how would that happen? How would that work?
So to be honest, Ted, I don't think there has ever been a better time for entrepreneurship in our country. I don't think ever in the history of our country have we been so receptive to the idea of entrepreneurship. I remember when we were growing up and we said we wanted to start a business, they would say, Lala banega kya? They would just say, are you crazy? You need to pursue a career. You need to become a
Yeah.
professional. You need to be a doctor, an engineer, teacher, and whatever that is, but anything but business. And they would say, no, 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 you're not going to start a shop. You're not going to start a business. But now it is not like that. The minute somebody says business, everybody's so receptive to it. So I don't think there is a problem, even if you are a student. I know it is very challenging, far more challenging than perhaps when we were students. There's so much of deliverables from a student today. Unlike perhaps I mean, at least in my times, I don't know, you're not as old as I am perhaps, but I'm saying that maybe they have a lot of deliverables. But one of the most important thing is when you have an idea, nurture it and follow it. There is a lot of support systems that are available nurturing entrepreneurship. Even in colleges today, there is entrepreneurship development programs for college going students. So go and enroll yourself into those programs and look at what it is. See, I think being a student is the best time to be an entrepreneur because you're so open to learning. As an entrepreneur, every day is a learning opportunity, and I think students are most aligned to learning. So it's fantastic for them to go and pursue these courses, take up these programs, take up these incubation programs, which are now a part of college. In the college setup also, there is an entrepreneurship development cell, so to say, or I don't know what it is called really. There is a terminology for that, but they are actually encouraging entrepreneurship in college students. So you must go and register with them and explore opportunities to hone those talents and skills that you need in order to be a successful entrepreneur. So I think it's a fantastic time to start, really.
Great. Thanks, Rohini. So yes, so for all the kids, for all the students who are here, Rohini said it's a fantastic time to start thinking of a business, even when you are in college. And she's right with all the information she's given out now. Yes, she's absolutely correct. Almost all the colleges that I've been to have separate development, entrepreneurship development cells in relation to the skill development of the government of Goa. And this is across the country, not just Goa. It's across the country. Every college has access to businessmen. Every college has access to the government funds, and they're actually nurturing ideas. So I guess that's the most important part there. If you have an idea, what Rohini just said, nurture and follow that idea. Do not give up on it. You have a lot of BNI. Since I spoke of BNI, I bring that up. BNI has something called Business Voices, where it's been 2 years now that BNI has reached out to colleges, because BNI is a group of business people, and these are small and medium enterprise businesses. So these are people who started up the business, by themselves, most of them at least. So they've gone through the rut of starting, financing, failing, and all of it. Who better than them to nurture an idea? And we're working with college students with ideas like that. Rohini, you've been a part of Business Voices, haven't you?
Yep. Yep. We've gone and made
Right.
presentations at various colleges talking about
Yes,
entrepreneurship.
perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So, okay, great. So, my next question then, Rohini, is when you're starting a business, you already said an idea, nurture, and follow. So, your first point to my next question is already out. What does it take to start a business?
I think to be inspired by the idea, to genuinely be motivated by it, because entrepreneurship is not a one-day run, or it's not a short-term project. It's a very long-term project. For some like me, perhaps it would be a lifetime project. So it has to be something which motivates you, which keeps you inspired for a longer period of time. It's not something like a job where you can take a job and then just once the interest is waned off, you can move to your next assignment. But for entrepreneurship, I think it's very important to be inspired by your project. Idea, as much as we keep saying ideas are available a dime a dozen. What is primary is what problem is that idea solving, and how pertinent is that problem? How big is that problem? Is that problem something that one really is looking out for solutions? Sometimes we think it is a problem, but it may not even be a problem that, I mean, as much as it appears like a problem to you at that time because you're so geared to, starting an enterprise, it may not be a big enough problem for you to run an enterprise successfully. Like people won't pay and buy your services or your solution. So the second thing is to really vet your idea, to really look at what is the potential to sell that idea, and then look at whatever else it takes you to do in order to do it. So I think while it's idea, it's also the feasibility of that idea, the potential of it is also very important. Have I answered you, Stead?
Yes, yes, but you answered me. But I'm going to bounce back to what a college student is probably thinking at this point of time. Is that how do I vet the idea? I think it's the right thing. I think it's solving a problem. Can I get help? Is there anyone there who can help me
Yes.
with the idea?
Yes. Like I said before, we already have a lot of support systems that the government is running. That I mean, the whole ecosystem, what we call the startup ecosystem, is something which is already geared up to look at new ideas, to incubate them, to nurture them, to help them really what we call the product market mix fix. Sorry, when we get the product market fix, when we know that okay, this is the problem, but is this the right solution for it, and does it have to be marketed in exactly this way, or is there another way to do it better? So these are people who have already handled a lot of startups. They are perhaps themselves entrepreneurs. Some of them are serial entrepreneurs. They have mentored organizations and entrepreneurs, so they might be the right people to advise these startups, I mean these college students who are pursuing entrepreneurship. So the first thing is to have the idea. Second thing is to have an idea of how you who are the takers for it, and then of course go and talk to industry experts, talk to incubation centers, talk to the other experts in the environment that we have right now, and seek advice. And I'm sure, given social media, given accessibility today, they would always have people to assist them, and people like you are always around to get them to the right people. So I think that's a great avenue for them.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. I agree that there are lots of people like us who are there available, and that's what we're doing through Business Voices and BNI Engage HR itself. That's what we're doing. We're going out and telling them that we're here. We are, we are available for help. If you need assistance, we've been through the rut. We'll help you make fewer mistakes, if not zero mistakes at least. Rohini, what about money? That's a question that in most college students ask me. I have an idea, I'm working on it, but I don't know where to get the money from. How does that work?
Um, it may sound a little cliched, but they say that the startup environment has a whole lot of money available, and people are just waiting for the right kind of idea, the right kind of entrepreneur to invest in. I just want to say two things before we get to the money part. While I was just telling you that it's so easy to find support, so I'll just give you an anecdote from my life. So when I started Sevarat, I really did not know where to go and find help. I mean, as much as you're talking about college students, I was lost because I had just moved to Goa. I didn't have too many people I knew. I just took the opportunity of participating in an exhibition organized by the Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industries Women's Wing. So it was a small exhibition for women, or women startups. Actually, more like home run businesses by women. And I put up the stall, and I didn't know what to even display. So I put up a portable commode, and I put up a wheelchair there, and I stood at the stall for 3 days. And like the universe is there to support you. Suddenly, the head of the incubation center, SIBA, Mr. DS Prashant, he walked past me, and then he came and he said, "This is my card. Get in touch with me." It just happened to me. And then once I went to them, I incubated with SIBA. In course of time, they have given us seed funding. In fact, they were the reason why we formed a company eventually in 2017, and they have held our hand till date. There has never been a day when I needed support and I have gone to them and I've returned empty handed. So the whole thing is the whole universe in Goa, the whole setup is there to support you. Coming back to the funding part, see, as far as I know, I may not be the best informed person, but the little that I do know, incubators are also working as facilitators to raise funds. That funds could be, there could be a bootstrapped venture, which is like with your own funds, you could have started a venture. But then eventually to get someplace, you need some money. And that initial money is called seed funds. So they have seed fund schemes, which are both by the government and as well as the private incubators. There is another organization called the Startup Promotion Cell of the Government of Goa. It's the part of the IT department of the Government of Goa. They manage the schemes of the government. So Goa government has a seed fund scheme, which is up to 10 lakhs of seed fund, which is a grant, which means that you don't even need to repay it. I mean, I'm not saying that, you should just take funds which you don't have to repay, but there are other organizations which give you a seed fund where you need to give them an equity, which is a shareholding in your company. But the government's seed fund scheme does not ask you for that either. It's just a grant from the government. There are other incubators who can get you connected with investors, who are angel investors who also give seed fund. And at different stages of your enterprise, like when you're scaling up, there are accelerators who help you raise funds from bigger investors, who help you get venture capital, who help you with mergers and acquisitions. You can get acquired by a bigger company. And all of those opportunities and all of this bring in money into your organization. Apart from that, then there are a lot of government schemes which are facilitated through banks. For example, there is the Startup India and the Stand Up India. These are two initiatives of the government of India. As a part of that, you get a lot of subsidies in the interest rates and a lot of leeway in terms of no collateral loans, etc. But all of these are again facilitated through banks. So you need to have a banker, and then you need to go to them and apply to them under those schemes, and they will help you. They will provide you with those loans. Of course, there are interest payable on that. The other thing is the government of Goa also has a scheme, which is the interest reimbursement scheme. For example, we availed a loan from the government, I mean from the bank, under the Startup India policy. And the government of Goa entitled us for an interest reimbursement scheme. So we actually got the interest that we paid, a part of it was reimbursed by the government. And I mean, it's so fantastic, So money comes in different ways. There is a salary reimbursement scheme by the government of Goa. There is a rent lease fees reimbursement scheme by the government of Goa. There is even a scheme to reimburse the costs incurred for registrations of IPs and trademarks by the government of Goa. So there are a lot of opportunities for people to raise funds, to avail loans. There is another organization called the EDC, which also helps raise, funds through banks. So those are also loans, and they come at a very affordable rate, especially for Goans, especially for women, and especially for enterprises which are based in the remote talukas of Goa. So all of these opportunities are available. These are what I know of, actually.
Perfect. And that's a lot of information, guys. If you've been listening, she's taken a lot of names here: EDC, SIBA, Startup Promotion Cell. She spoke of someone called DS Prashant, who used to be a part of SIBA when Rohini met with him. Then he moved to Fire. He's still a part of
Currently
Fire, but he's also
the CEO of the
yeah,
Startup Promotion Center.
yes, and he's now the CEO of the Startup Promotion Cell with the government. So DS Prashant's a very, very helpful person. You've got a lot of help there. Guys, in a nutshell, with everything that we've spoken of today, the good news, and that's what this conversation is turning out to be, that it's good news. If you hear and you've been listening to the whole conversation, I'm assuming that you've come in here today because you have some sort of a thought or some sort of I want to start my own thing. The good news is that there is a lot of help in terms of, and I wish this was there when I was in college, but it wasn't. Like Rohini said, we didn't have that kind of exposure, but you guys do with social media and with all the other information and with all the other help from the government. Um, I'm not saying it's difficult to fail, but it's easy to start at least. So the points that she's put in, and I'm going to reiterate and go through those points again. First, the idea, but she did say that that's a dime a dozen. Nurture and follow the idea. Don't give up on it. Even if you're a student, there's never been a better time for entrepreneurship than there is currently in our country, in our state as of now. Three, vet that idea, and you've got a lot of help, like we've said, promotion boards and institutions that can vet that idea for you, which are filled of business people. She said, talk to the experts in that ecosystem, go meet those people. In fact, the Startup Promotion Cell almost every month has these meetings where they invite people who are potential to start your own business. They give you an opportunity to ask them questions and then they can answer them. Rohini, you're a part of one other organization very
Yeah.
similar to that. Tell us something
Yeah.
about that.
So we started the Goa Network. It is called the Goa Network. This is essentially to help entrepreneurs who are based in Goa, not just entrepreneurs who are raised in Goa, the people who moved to Goa and they're pursuing entrepreneurship. And a lot of people do not have access to all the information that for some reason a lot of us do have, because we've been moving around in these circles and for a whole long time now. So as a part of being a part of the Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industries, being acquainted and working with the Startup Promotion Cell, I have been incubating with SIBA and with Fire. I'm also familiar with other incubators like the Atal Incubation Center, which is a part of the Goa Institute of Management. There is another incubation center at the BITS Pilani campus in Vasco. They even have some very deep tech incubation that they do. They have biotech incubation that they do. It's fantastic. So given that there are so many such avenues available to entrepreneurs, a whole lot of people may not even know about them. And I'm not even summarizing all of them. There's another incubator called Build3, which is based in Kandolim. So there are a whole lot of people around here to help them. We aim to give people that information, and we've created an organization called the Goa Network. And as a part of that, we conduct workshops, we conduct meetings, and we aim to eventually even get them lined up with investors from all over the world, particularly from Silicon Valley, to come and invest in ventures which are based in Goa. So that's what the Goa Network is about.
Very nice. Guys, that works. It really does work because I went to one of I think that was the first meeting. I'm not sure if it was, but I
Yes,
went to
we had
one
the
of those
first meeting.
meetings. Yes, and it was really helpful. A lot of information was thrown around. It was an overload of information, but I got a lot of stuff written down. I myself learned a lot from that. Yes, Prashant was there. I met with him there. There were a lot of people who were in that ecosystem, like Rohini said. It was the perfect setup where you feel the ecosystem, not just see it. You feel it. You can feel the energy in the room where there are so many people who want to do something new. So if you've been here from the start, if you've not, don't worry. This video is going to be there on YouTube, but you have access to me through Engage HR. you have access to Rohini Gonsalves. That's her handle on Instagram. You can reach out to us and we will point you in the right direction. She said the group that they found is the Goa Network. So, the Rohini, are you guys on Instagram, the Goa Network?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But
Well,
you
but
can
you can
connect
reach
with me and
Rohini.
I can get to you. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, you can reach Rohini through her Instagram handle. Send her a message, and she'll get back in touch with you. We've got a lot of other people. DS Prashant's on Instagram, and he's very helpful. You can reach out to me, and I'll point you in the right direction. For all those guys, for all those students, and for all those people who've been looking at starting business, Rohini said one very, very encouraging thing, that there's never, ever in the history of our country been a better time for entrepreneurs than now. The country is booming, and there is no better way for the country, for any country to grow, than having small and medium enterprise businesses grow in every nook and corner. Yes, there are a lot of failures. Yes, there are a lot of challenges. But then there's another yes, and that is there's a lot of help and a lot of assistance as well. Rohini's taken a whole loads of names of different organizations, both in the government and out, that are there. She said seed funding available to the startup promotion cell. So if you don't know where to get that first money from, she's giving you an idea. A lot of information thrown around here, guys.